From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, remember when we used to do 40-minute shows and we would struggle just to fill 40 minutes? Yeah, that's not the case. Mailback show, super long. What's Derek Ray do? What are the expectations for next season if you run it back? And we're generating discussion sparked by Cummins. Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Warchant BOGO. Warchant BOGO. That is your promo code. Buy one, get one free. What are you going to get in that bottle of Vitamin Energy, you ask? I'm glad you asked, rhetorically. 260 milligrams of all-natural caffeine, body-nourishing vitamins, everything you need to get your day going, keep your day sustained, and to thrive. Have a better mood, better focus, all in one little bottle. Again, you can take it anywhere. Gym, leave it in the office desk drawer, leave it in the car console, especially now that the weather's nice and cool. It'll taste like refrigerated. It'll be awesome. Give it a try. VitaminEnergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code. Warchant.com, Ultimate Seminole Sports Source, Corey. You know that. $1 for a week and a year subscription to The Athletic. Still boggles the mind that that's going on, but give it a try. And, I think you'll like it enough after 1 week that maybe you ask for a subscription to Warchant for a Christmas gift, everybody. It can be a gift. It's what better gift, Corey? Real talk, Corey. Somebody posted on the boards that they're going to have to let their subscription lapse because they've lost their job recently.
Oh,
and,
man, that's a shame.
Yeah, all right. Man. And people are obviously sharing their empathy for them and letting them know, hey, I hope everything works out. And then somebody was like, I get it. They're like, but it's, whatever that it is, $120 a year. He's like, it's endless entertainment. He's like, it's less than going out to lunch every day or like once a week, a month or something like that. I didn't do the math on it, but it's I think it's worth it, everybody.
Well, yeah, if you go to lunch today with anyone, it's $20-something. If you're going to a place where you sit down.
Dude, Abby and I went and got tacos on Tuesday. She got 3 tacos, I got 3 tacos, and we ordered chips and guac, and we each had a soda. And it was like $48.
Yeah, yep. I went out on Wednesday night. I had 1 alcoholic beverage, just one, and a dinner, playing trivia, and it was $31. Maybe $33. Yeah, it was $40 total because I tipped. Because I'm a great tipper. I'm always around 21, 22%. Never 30, never 10. Somewhere 21, 25%. So, yeah, it's crazy. So, it's definitely cheaper than that. But, obviously, if you got to cut back. That's a shame, and we do feel for you. Don't just latch on to Warchant at the expense of, like, rent or food.
Tell you what, though, when you subscribe to us, you'll be able to access our website and everything. We're not going to pull a YouTube TV Disney on you.
Amen to that, brother. Amen to that.
Cool thing about this mailbag edition, Corey, we got some new names and faces on here, which is always cool to know that the people are out there listening, even though they might not be in the mailbag all the time.
Hey, before we get into that,
yes.
There was some news that broke on Thursday.
What happened?
They lost their number 1 commitment in the class.
Okay. Jay Timmons, son of Lawrence Timmons. It's Ohio State, though, right?
There's not a lot of shame. Yeah, no, he committed to Ohio State. Yeah. There's not a lot of shame to losing a player of that caliber to Ohio State, right? Like, look at where Florida State is right now, man. And a lot of that is because of the last 6 years. But who wouldn't rather go to Ohio State right now if you're a big-time player than Florida State? Like, I get it. I understand. That's not the issue. The issue is KJ Bolden, Travis Hunter. Didn't they have a defensive end that
Keldrick
went
Falk? Keldrick Falk.
Man. Every year, his number 1 commitment goes somewhere else. It seems that's his tradition. It's like the Masters or the Rose Bowl. That's his tradition, where every year he's going to lose the top-ranked commitment in his class, and it hammers home the point that they don't get what they need to get on the trail. And the reason is everybody lose commitments. Everybody, again, no shame in losing somebody to Florida State. No shame in losing a kid from Buford, Georgia to Georgia. That's pretty good. 2 pretty good programs. But why aren't you on that level? Why would it be crazy for a legacy, by the way, to not come to Florida State. Deuce Robinson didn't come the first time. Marvin Jones Jr. didn't come the first time. Like, what? Anyway, so yeah, just more chum in the waters. That you got a couple 3-stars, three stars this week, but then you lost your best prospect to Ohio State, which is just kind of par for the course. And I'm writing a story on that. I don't know when I'll publish it, but I just looked up all the recruiting classes of the previous 5 years. Well, I guess up until 2025. So I didn't take into account this class, obviously, because we don't know what it's going to be and how good they're going to be. And it's dreadful, as you guys all know. Like, I think he signed 99 kids, I believe, 99 in the first 5 years. 10 of them, 10 out of 99, were like multi-year starters / big-time contributors. 2 were NFL players. 1 was an offensive lineman that actually played. 99 kids they've signed. 10 ended up being what you'd call good college football players. And that includes Patrick Payton, who's no longer here.
Not a good hit rate.
Anyway, not to give away the whole story, but if it happens where he is no longer the coach, we will point to days like Thursday where he continues to lose his best players, and then just the overall recruiting classes and evaluation of these high school kids as the reason. 10 out of 99. Like, I think 21 out of 99. And I was being – like, Omar Graham was part of the 21 out of 99. Blake Nicholson, Quindarius Jones. Like, I had guys that I consider contributors, like actually got on the field and contributed. And that was only up to 21. But out of the ones that, like, actually played a lot, that includes, like, Josh Farmer, Shaheem Brown, Azarie Thomas, 8. Oh, that also includes 3 kickers, by the way. Mastromato, Fitzgerald, and Weinberg. So take those away, and you're talking about 5 guys. 5 real guys. And Shaheem is one of them who's barely been a starter this year. But he was a multi-year starter. He started on an ACC championship team. Another one is like Patrick Payton, who's no longer here. So it's like Azarie Thomas, Rob Scott, Josh Farmer. That's a wrap on high school guys that have contributed started for multiple years and been good college football players. Yikes. It's gross.
I know you don't want to give away the story, but I feel like you're going to have to at some point in this show because we got a lot of questions about recruiting. We're not the recruiting guys, but we're gonna play one on podcast. Okay. Wadata 80. Mike is not good enough at recruiting. If he were to stay, how do we fix that? And we're going to package that old school style so we can maybe not all spend an hour and a half on our Friday doing this. Greenville. Simple 2 questions. What does Mike have to do to win back the fan base? And hush the talk that he must go, winning out. Second question, why do you think it is that Mike can't make any headway with high school players and recruit better? Is it the lack of winning, personality, just not enough money? Thanks for all that you do as always. So, yeah, what is it, the reason, and how do we fix it?
I think some of it is multi-layered, man. Like, it was such a mess when he got here. Some of it his own doing, some of it Taggart, some of it COVID, that he was in a rush to win quickly. And when you're doing that, wouldn't you – if you have resources to give to these players, you'd rather give it to a Jermaine Johnson, Keir Thomas, Jamie Robinson, Jared Verse than a kid that might be good in 2 years. So I think they put more of their resources and finances into the portal early on, which was a success. They just didn't hit on any of these guys. Like, you just by sheer number of the sheer law of averages, you would hit on more than like 10%. Even if I'm being kind, 20%, 21% of your recruits should be better than this. He's had 35 or 40 transfer out. He's had 20 that contributed at all. That's an enormous gaffe. That's an enormous miss on multiple years and on an incredible scale, really, to be that bad for that long. I don't know the answer to it. I do know there were some mitigating circumstances where you were having to try to front load with the portal. You were spending a lot of money on the portal or relative to what other people were spending, and maybe you didn't feel like you wanted to spend a lot of money on a 5-star defensive tackle that probably wouldn't be contributing at a high level for a couple years. So I don't know. I don't know why he's not good at it. I think he kind of, he hasn't recruited a lot of KJ Boldens in his life. He certainly hasn't signed any of them. He hasn't signed any Travis Hunters. That's not, he grew up in the sport, signing kids to Tulsa, signing kids to Arizona State, Pitt, and Memphis. then he comes to Florida State, and okay, now he's recruiting against Ohio State. Good luck. It's not working. Even when he had the proof of concept with 19 straight wins, look at that class. Holy cow. Yeah. That might have been the worst of the bunch when you go back and look at it. Is the one after he went 13-0. So I don't know why. I don't think he doesn't know what good football players look like. He's coached them. He's got 10 guys that are in the NFL right now that are starting or close to starters. He's seen it up close. He had guys at Memphis that played a lot in the NFL. He knows what it looks like. But for whatever reason, there's some sort of disconnect when it comes to the big elite talent. And also, I'm not naive enough to obviously finances are a factor too. I assume Florida State is competitive. Maybe Ohio State goes over the top. Maybe Georgia went over the top with K.J. Bolden. I don't know. I know Colorado was offering Travis Hunter a ton of money, and that worked out for Jackson State. He ended up doing well, but yeah, at the expense of Mike Norvell. So I don't know. Do you have any theories? Because it's not like he doesn't know what good players look like. So I don't know if it's just the way he communicates. I honestly, I think it's what I just said. He's been here for 6 years, guys. 6 years. 2 of his guys have been drafted that he brought out of high school. 2 in 6 years. Yeah. Now, it's not fair to the lump to 24. Like Mekhi Danzy's probably going to be an NFL player, right? So that bumps it up to 3. Patrick Payton, I guess, might be drafted. That might be 4. He's just at another school. But right now, as we're sitting here, he's been here 6 years. He's produced, from high school, Joshua Farmer, Azarie Thomas. 2. And 1 was a local kid. Another one, I think, was committed to LSU before Travis Hunter left, or before they fired their coach. Again, in all counts, he got here. Timmy Jernigan was going to Florida until Urban Meyer quit. Nobody apologizes for that, but it's just that's the problem, man. How do you recruit a guy like Lawrence Timmons' kid? If you're looking at the current Florida State coaching staff, and I think this coaching staff is worlds better than what they had, but this head coach and what he produces from the high school ranks, you wouldn't go there if you're a big-time player that thinks you're an NFL talent.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say you wouldn't go there. You would have to be convinced to go there. Yeah. Because Ohio State's straight putting 10, 12 guys in the league every year from the high school ranks. You ain't.
Yeah, I don't want to discount the money aspect of it, but I think if we just say it's all about money, then we're losing the nuance and some of the other underlying reasons.
Right? I don't think I presented it like that. I don't think it's all about money.
There's somebody I'm sure out there that's at their keyboard right now or yelling at their radio, "You idiots, didn't you hear what Jordan said? It's all about money." And it's like, well, then, allocate it better. For example, and I don't know the price tags on these guys. I'm not going to name names on the Florida State side of it, but Lee Hunter, right? He was at UCF, interior defensive lineman. He's at Texas Tech. We all probably know why. Texas Tech has a number 10 total defense in the country, the number 5 scoring defense in the country. Yeah. Lee Hunter has started every game this year on the interior and is graded out at nearly 80 on PFF, right? He was at UCF. He was there when Gus was there. You lost out on him. He stopped, I think, here on his way to Lubbock. So he did visit. He did give you an opportunity, and it might have been one of those Keon things where maybe money did reign supreme in making the choice, Corey. But you also went and gave money to guys on defense. So is a Lee Hunter worth 3 other guys that you paid to get? And then you can't do that because you don't have enough depth built up. You cannot risk being thin at this one position, so you can't make a big swing at a guy like a Lee Hunter. So I get money being part of that too, but it does come back, I think, to connecting as well, man. To your point about being drafted. I remember being so excited when we had our first ever luncheon with Norvell, and he talked about, I think you asked him, when he sat at our table, so what's your pitch to recruits? And he was like, I tell them, if you don't want to work hard, if you don't want to be pushed to your absolute maximum, don't come here. This place is not for everybody. I'm going to coach you hard. And I was so excited. I'm thank God. That's what they need after what Willie was. But to your point, Nick's coaching them hard. He was coaching them hard. Kirby's coaching them hard. Sark's coaching them hard. So's Dan Lanning. So's Ryan Dave. Those guys put guys in the league. So why am I going to come here, have you down my throat, trying to, you're going to coach me hard in your thoughts and what you think is the right way to do it, but you haven't shown the ability to put guys like me into the league. So as great as a guy as you seem and sound, man, I got to worry about my future. I got to go elsewhere. That's part of the mix, man. It's part of the gumbo that has left this team and looking the way they look right now, midway through year 6.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite. I always use this comparison not a comparison, but my complaint about Rick Trickett was Jimbo straight signed 5 stars at every other position, even though the wide receivers and quarterbacks fizzled out there. I mean, he was Ermon Lane, Travis Rudolph, Malik Henry,
George Campbell.
Obviously Derwin, Jalen, George Campbell, but all the defensive linemen he got, Jernigan, Josh Sweat, big-time dudes. The one position he never got big-time guys was at offensive line. It was because half the players in the country did not want to go play for Rick Trickett. He's not a fun person to play for.
Yeah.
And I know football isn't fun, but his personality and the way he coached, not everybody can be a Rodney Hudson that just loves it. A lot of guys, you kind of have to coach differently, right? Like Nick Saban said that. He's on a podcast saying that. Like, you can't coach everybody the same. Well, when it comes to offensive linemen, you can't eliminate half the field because they just do not want to play for that man. And they didn't. And it just made no sense that you would have somebody that would actively hurt your chances of landing even if he's the best offensive line coach in the country and teaches technique well, all that. You're living with that dude for the next 4 years. And for some players, that just wasn't something they were willing to do and submit and withstand and subject themselves to. I don't know if it's the same thing with Mike Norvell. I don't know if some kids are like, well, I don't want you on my every day. I'm going to go to Ohio State. I mean, I assume you get coached hard there too. I don't think Kirby's taking it lightly. So I don't know if it's the same thing. It just that was more just a complaint about the end of Jimbo's tenure. It's like, man, you see why you're signing you signed 5 stars at every position, and then you have to take 3-star diamonds in the rough at offensive line. Why? Because they're just grateful to have a Florida State scholarship offer. Meanwhile, these other schools are getting all the big-time offensive linemen because they don't have Rick Trickett coaching for them. Rick Trickett won a national championship, did a great job with that offensive line. As it got longer in Jimbo's tenure, people stopped coming. And remember that offensive line. Brian Stork was a converted tight end. Cam Irving was a converted defensive tackle. It's not like they were big-time dudes that they came to play for Rick Trickett. He just couldn't land the big-time talents at offensive line. And look where we are, Aslan. We're still there. Still there. They have played. Robert Scott was the last and only Mike Norvell offensive line recruit that has been a starter on this team. I mean, Jalen Early started a few games, right? But he doesn't count. Yeah. He started out of health reasons for our injuries. It's just – but who knows, man? Who knows?
Let's keep it offensive line related. Tony G from DB, wake up. I've got an Irish O'Fell special, 2-for-1s.
Nice.
How important do you think it is to keep Herb Hand as the offensive line coach, even if FSU were to make a move at the head coaching spot? How important would bowl practices be no matter who the head coach is because of the portal window coming after bowl season? Yeah, man, Herb Hand has done a fantastic job. I mean, that's having Jeff on the report earlier this week, Corey, he hasn't really bought into Gus's wizardry. Doesn't really believe that it is one of the better offenses in the country. But man,
right, it's just if you ignore all the numbers and yards and points, he's got a great argument.
But the offensive line is the one thing where I think all of us can agree. Like it looks substantially, noticeably better, and it wasn't necessarily done with ideal piece. I mean, Ethan Oinawa, that one of the top tackles in the portal, they got him on campus. He went to Ohio State. I'm sure money was obviously a big factor in that one as well. So they had to kind of maybe go to some second, third options, which like Herb Hand is proof of it. Like they probably did not get every single person they wanted on that offensive line, but they went and got 4 new dudes. Richie Leonard was healthy, and they are blocking for the number 1 offense in the country right now. So yeah, I would hope Herb Hand is retained by whoever were to come, but I'm sure they've got their own people, unless we're going to get a defensive-minded person who might just relegate, the offense to somebody else. And I don't know, could you not keep Gus but keep Herb? I think that'd be big to keep Herb, and that'd be one of the top things I'd want to retain. As for the bowl practices, yeah, I'm one of the guys, I still think bowl practices are huge, and not even so much because of the portal window, but just in terms of evaluating your guys. I mean, if you talk about culture and brotherhood and building all these things, all right, man, well, we all are going to go play in a game that's pretty much meaningless. Are you going to show up every day? Are you going to keep working? Are you going to get better? And then when we actually play that game and there's a scoreboard and there's lights on and it matters and there's TV cameras, are you going to play hard? There's lessons to be learned even in these bowl games with teams opting out. I mean, you find out who your foxhole guys are. So getting into a bowl game is still a very important thing, not even to add some sort of accolade to what the season is, but to build for next year whoever's going to be leading the charge.
I would think when it comes to Herb Hand, I think he's done a fine job with this team. And I also don't think this is the best offense in the country, by the way. But I don't just dismiss it like Jeff does because I didn't have amnesia about 2024. I was there. And to go from 133rd in the country to number 1, and then still somebody shakes their head like, yeah, whatever. It's a Mickey Mouse offense. What was last year then? Good grief, man. They score points and they get they move the ball. You can't dismiss that just because you don't like the way it's run. I'm not a huge fan of the Gus offense. I think there is some trickery that maybe isn't I'm not a huge fan of. But overall, I just care about points and yards, and they're 8th in the country in rushing. Come on, man. What are we doing here? What they got to be number 1, or are they got to throw for 250 and run for 250 and have a 6'4" quarterback and a bunch of NFL running? Like they're doing what they can with what they have, and I think it's been an unbelievable job considering it was a brand new starting 11 and coming off last year to do what they've done. I know I'm saying this as they're about to get shut out at Clemson probably, but and everybody will say I told you so. That just means it's bad news for Virginia Tech. If they get shut out at Clemson, Gus is coming correct the next week. But, yeah, man, the offense has been good. There's no other way around it. They had a bad game at Stanford. They've been good. They're just a good offense. Not great, but good. I don't know how else you could measure offenses. Go watch Georgia play. Tell me what you think of their offense or Florida's offense. Anyway, SMU's. When it comes to Herb Hand, though, I don't know. I want guys that can evaluate and develop your own people. I think Herb has done a really nice job with a bunch of 24-year-olds and 23-year-olds that have more starting experience than like the New York Giants offensive line. But I want to. Is he recruiting at a high level? Is he developing the young guys that still can't get on the field? Like when the tackle went down and he just moves Rizzi in. Yeah, it's like, okay, Lucas Simmons is just not somebody that can play. You didn't get him ready in the last 2 months that you could actually play a kid that plays tackle at tackle. You have to move a guard to tackle because he's not ready. And so with that in mind, I don't know if it's pivotal. I think Herb Hand and Malzahn are kind of married together. I feel like they work very well together. So if Malzahn's not here, I would be surprised if Herb Hand is here. But also, I'm not saying he hasn't done a good job. It's just I care more about than what these 23-year-old, this collection of 5 23-year-olds are doing this year, because I'm thinking about 2026 when none of those guys will be here. None of them. Now, he's shown he can do a good job, bringing in older guys from different schools and, making them a pretty cohesive unit. But is that the way? Or would you like Lucas Simmons and Otto in Sandman, the Thompson kid at center? Would you like those guys to be your offensive lineman next year? So that gives me to the other point is I would love – the only thing I think you would get out of bowl practices, because it might be a new coaching staff, but a new coaching staff coming in and being able to evaluate the players they have on their roster up close, like watching them for 12 practices or whatever it is, I think that's beneficial. I also think it's really beneficial if you're in a bowl and say, Tommy's not coming back next year. Obviously, these offensive linemen aren't coming back next year. The game does not matter at all. Play your young offensive lineman and see if you have anything. Play Sperry and see if you have anything. Like, make use of it. Treat it like an exhibition game, because it is, and get some real use out of it. That to me is the biggest benefit of making a bowl. And the reason I say that is Jimbo, much to his credit and Trickett's credit, that Notre Dame game, when they played Notre Dame in the Champs Bowl or the Russell, whatever it's called, the thing in Orlando.
That was Champs. I think Russell Athletic was when there was the Wisconsin. They played Wisconsin, I think,
So 2011, they played Notre Dame. And, I can't remember. Datko, somebody else is hurt. The whole offensive. So they decide, okay, you know what?
Sanders?
There you go, Zebri, maybe Ronnie Sanderson, all these guys, all the greats. And they decide, we're just going to play our young guys. We're going to play Matias. We're going to play Trey Jackson. Maybe Cam Irving was already on the line. Bobby Hart, I think, played in that game as a true freshman. And they're like, they're all playing together. This is the first time they're all playing together, this group of 5. And, that was their thrown into the fire moment against that Notre Dame team, that Brian Kelly Notre Dame team, which was a good team. They came back and won. EJ played with a broken leg. It was a nice win. But that set the stage for next year when they went 12-2 with that same offensive line, adding Menelik Watson, and then all those guys were there in 2013 when they went and won the national championship. Use this bowl for that. If you get to a bowl, which is an enormous if.
I haven't been able to use this at all this year, but I just need to once.
Fuck somebody!
Just one time.
Was that you or him?
That was Herb, man. Come on.
That was Herb. Oh, God bless them, man. Yeah, because they've been pretty good at doing it.
Yeah.
We haven't had to use it, yeah.
Corner Pocket's been pretty good at doing this whole bar and grill thing. Great, delicious food, all the sports on all the TVs, ice cold drinks, friendly faces. Come on out, check it out for yourself. 2475 Appalachia Parkway, cptallybar.com, the website. Daily lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., only $8.99. Comes with a side dish, with your entree. That's pretty solid. That's great value. That Corey wasn't playing trivia and having one singular drink and paying $40 at the Corner Pocket, everybody. Best believe that. That was some of that big highfalutin Atlanta trivia night stuff at a sports bar, not the CP, everybody.
Oh yeah, I should have specified. No way, Corner Pocket, I'm in and out for $20. And that's with the tip, that's with my apps, maybe a drink or two. It's good stuff in the Corner Pocket and cheap. Not cheap food, not cheap beer, as Aslan said, but it's cost effective.
Yes. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. 5 p.m. meet and greet next week before the final home game of the year. Yeah. Oh, wow. Incredible. Against Virginia Tech. Come on out, say hi.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Why would you wander around a warehouse store looking for paint when you could just swing by your neighborhood Ace? In addition to Ace's award-winning service, we have top-rated paint brands. Plus, our color matching technology allows us to match any color. So stop wandering and start painting. Head to your neighborhood Ace today.
In Crawfordville, your home convenience store is Ace Home Center and NAPA Auto Parts, located at 2709 Crawfordville Highway. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, warchantbogo, your promo code. Here's another 2 for 1. Let's package them. Sunrise Knoll, wake up. I am just curious. What does Derek Ray do? Does he scout talent? Maybe we need to move on from him and try something different. And then Beham FSU, good morning, wake up. Where does Derek Ray fit into this mess? We talk about Norvell not knowing what Florida State talent should look like. Ray is even less qualified. Am I wrong? Would replacing him be a better option? Reached out to somebody who knows more about this stuff than I do, Corey. I don't know if he knows more about it than you do, but I mean, he's more or less, it sounds like, the coordinator of the recruiting office in terms of like the coaching staff sets the agenda. He then is the guy that filters it down to everybody else in that office, whether it's setting up visits, setting up the right date of visits, trying to get the right combination of visits coordinated on a certain date. The scouting department, I'm sure he's being told, like, listen, we need a linebacker that can go sideline to sideline. Now, his tackling could be maybe suspect, but we just need like a speedy linebacker that's pretty good in coverage. They're going to filter that information down to the scouting department. They're going to put in their dossier and find guys that fit a certain profile. And then, that's presented then to the coaching staff. Derek Ray is not the Jerry Jones GM of this organization, but I get it. He's on the sidelines and he has a fancy title to his name. And you're seeing some other programs with some maybe higher profile, more known people at the helm. So you're like, well, why don't we do that? But I'm sure when we get to the end of this thing, Corey, right, the comprehensive review of the football program is going to definitely include the scouting department and the recruiting office and the people that are under Derek Ray's purview.
Yeah, I know he's an easy scapegoat. They're all scapegoats, though. Nobody's done a really good job over there when it comes to player development, player personnel in general. I mean, not for the standards of Florida State. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Like it's still like, who was Jimbo's Jimbo have a GM?
No.
Did I don't know. Who's Ryan Day's GM? Is it Mike Florio? Like who is it? What's happening at these other schools where they're just getting all these good players and you keep losing your best players and you keep signing 3-stars? Is that Derek Ray's fault, or is that something that's out of his control? And also he's not telling Mike Norvell, sign this guy. It's all like Derek Ray's not like the final say like an NFL GM. Like an NFL GM traditionally has the final say, right? Like, no, you're drafting him.
Yeah.
Or no, we're trading for him. It's my call. I guess he has to run it up to the owner to make sure. But the GM, he's making all the personnel decisions, him and his staff. Derek Ray is making suggestions at the most. Mike Norvell does not trust that man implicitly to be like, well, Derek said he really likes, I don't know, Goldie Lawrence.
Yeah.
He loves Goldie Lawrence, so we're going to Jeremiah Smith wants to come here, but Derek sees something in Goldie. Like, that's not happening. These are all Mike Norvell issues. The personnel on this roster is Mike Norvell's problem, not Derek Ray's problem. Derek Ray clearly hasn't helped because who has? But this is who wants to come play for this man? Who does this man think can play and sign off on signing and recruiting and offering and giving money to that actually can't play? That's a Mike Norvell issue. But it's a fair question about Derek Ray. It's just he has not been the downfall of this program, if you want to call it a downfall. That it's not on his watch. I mean, how absurd would that be that Mike Norvell gives all power to Derek Ray?
Yeah.
Who is Derek Ray? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Who is he? Where'd he come from? You're going to
Oregon
give
State.
your career over to him? Come on, man. That's not happening.
He got his master's degree in kinesiology at Fresno State in 2013, by the way. Derek Ray.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Reading the Ohio State bio for their GM, Mark Pantoni. He's in his 14th season with Ohio State and is the GM. In this position, quote, Pantoni supervises all aspects of the program's administrative duties for personnel and recruiting, including NIL negotiations, high school and transfer portal film evaluations, on-campus official and unofficial visits, and roster construction management.
Yeah, that's fair, right?
Supervises.
What was his job before? He hasn't been doing that for 14 years. This hasn't been in a position that's existed for that long.
Right. He was with the Gators, it looked like, for a hot minute. Maybe he came up there with, what's his name? Urban. He's from Sarasota. He went to Cardinal Mooney in Sarasota. He graduated from Florida twice over. He was director of player personnel for a little bit there, which I guess was probably the predecessor to what GMs are right now. But he had started his career in 2011 at Ohio State after working at Florida for 6 years. He had direct responsibilities as a recruiting program coordinator.
There you go. All right. So a recruiting coordinator.
Yeah, he was personnel.
Which, again, they don't sign off on everything either.
Right.
It's just, I'm not saying Derek Ray should be absolved of any wrongdoing or failures. I'm just saying it's not. And I know this wasn't the way the question was framed either. It was just more like, what does he do? He does not sabotage football programs. That's done by people above him.
I got a little pep in my step, Corey. I just got my email from the Florida State traffic ticket board or whatever. I got a ticket. I forgot to put my pass on my dashboard. I appealed it. I lost. So then I did like this ultimate appeal. I went before a tribunal over Zoom, and they sided with me. Shout out to all the people that were on the tribunal.
Oh, that's good to know I have that avenue in case I get a ticket because I don't put my pass up there. All right.
Let's get to the part of the show where we generate discussion sparked by Cummins and pick out the best question. But the whole part of this generating discussion franchise is that we're giving away a free Cummins portable generator at the end of the year. All the weekly winners are entered into a drawing at the end of the year for that. But all the weekly winners per month are into a gift bag drawing that we're going to do right now, Corey Clark. We got 4 winners from the month of October. They are Buffalo Tom, XDQ004, Hayden Walton, and Crazy Seminole. How many times should I shuffle before spinning, Corey?
Just the one.
One shuffle.
Yeah.
We spin the wheel. Gift bag, Cummins, maybe a portable power station battery in there. And the winner, is it going to be Hayden? Is it going to?
That's definitely going to be Hayden.
It's Hayden Walton. Congrats, Hayden. Shoot me a DM on the warchant.com interface. and we'll get you set up and rocking and rolling.
Oh, H-Dub, good job. So he didn't win a generator. He just wins the chance to win a generator, which Hayden, it's a better chance than I got.
Yeah. Which, by the way, we need to talk about the home generator and your needs possibly in Cummins and how that can all work together, everybody. Corey and I will talk about that off air. Let's get to the question of the week. Before we get to the question of the week, though, Corey, just to make it officially generating discussion sparked by Cummins, a little energy provided by you, please. We push the button. Yes, there he is. Again, it's generating discussion sparked by Cummins. Cummins Lifestyle. It's all one word. Follow them on Instagram. See all the cool things you can do when you have Cummins Own Power in your corner. It's the best, everybody. This question, turns out, Corey, Blue Noles actually been a previous winner, so I goofed up. I should have probably picked Tony G from DB. I like the question from that we got from him. But Blue Nole, nonetheless, has a pretty good question, Corey, because we've been talking about this in all sorts of different angles. I think maybe our guy from Cummins actually posted this a few weeks ago, but he didn't win. Blue Nole did. Corey, why would Michael Alford allow Mike Norvell to hire a whole new staff after last season if he was just going to give Norvell and this staff one season to right the ship? Look, I'm not happy about the losses, but if you weren't going to give this staff a chance to at least recruit to their needs and implement their schemes, which takes at least 2 seasons, then you should have fired Mike after last season.
It's a well-crafted question. It's a really good point. It is a really good point. I think you have to understand, though, like they would have owed $60 million last year if they would have fired him. So they were thinking at the time, this is a stopgap to save some money, to make them respectable, and then hopefully they don't have to fire him at the end of the year. But if they do, you're breaking out about even. It's not like you cost yourself a lot of money with this new staff. And obviously I just think they were assuming that it would be better than this, better than 4-4, not better than the product. Again, the product isn't horrible. You're watching these games. They are not getting embarrassed. Pitt is 7-2. Virginia is 8-1. Miami is 7-2. Like there's no shame in those 3 losses. And you were within 1 score of all of them and really should have beaten Virginia and Pitt. And I think you do beat Pitt if Deuce doesn't get hurt, but you didn't and you lost. And the Stanford game compounds everything. That's why I think you can't argue that this staff isn't better than last year's staff. Of course it is. This team is better than last year's team. And if you can win a couple of these games down the stretch, there is absolutely a scenario where they all get brought back for another year. I don't think that would be, I don't know, ridiculous. I couldn't think of a better word than ridiculous because I go to that all the time. But I don't think it would be ridiculous if they brought them back after a 7-5, 6-6 season with 6 one-possession losses because you didn't fire them after last year. Yeah. And what were you expecting? 9-3, 10-2? Like, this is kind of what we were all expecting, an up-and-down season, but better. And that's what they've delivered. The Stanford loss is the inexcusable one, as I've said repeatedly and continue to say in this show, or will continue to say in this show. That's the one that's inexcusable that I think spelled doom for this head coach. But that's because I'm not expecting them to win at Clemson or Florida. If they can lose at Stanford, I assume they're going to lose all their road games. But if they go win them all, then yeah, it's a bad night in Palo Alto when your kids are used to being asleep at that time of night. So you can chalk that one up too. But yeah, it's a fair point. Like this coaching staff is better. This coaching staff is a legitimate D1, high D1, I think, coaching staff that you can just tell by the players they're playing, the players they brought in, the players they've already developed in 1 year. This is more like what it should have been looking the whole time. But 2-10 is still hanging over the head, and I don't know that 6-6 wipes that thing away. And so you're going to have to spend money to fire them, all of them.
Yeah, man, I don't know what the timeline for Michael Alford was when they did all these moves and paid all this money. I do wonder, like, what the expectation would be for. I'd love for them to come out with a statement before next season. Like, we have put everything in place to make this a team that should compete for a championship. And if not, we will then have to move forward in a different direction. I know they wouldn't say something like that, but it would have to be playoff or bust. What I ask you, Corey, is this in terms of what they were hoping for, because I never understood it. Like the realistic belief was go 8-4, gives you some semblance of momentum, keep some of these guys that you can keep, as many as you can that you want to keep, bring in some new dudes, second year with the staff, and then 10 wins, conference championship, that's back on the table. But if if we compare this to child rearing, which I don't have a lot of experience in, so bear with me. But if last season was an F, okay, last season was easily by far an F. It was a failure. All right, this wasn't okay. This wasn't a kid. This wasn't a child who's not shown you the ability to actually do well in school, right? They've had A's before. They've won 13 games in a season before. But man, you invested. You didn't just go get a math tutor, man. You got a math tutor. You got an English tutor. You got a science tutor. You got a history. I mean, you've put everything around this guy and this team to be successful. And you're like at a C. I think a B is making it to the playoff. I think A is winning a game in the playoff, like being in the quarterfinals, semifinals. If you're grading Florida State, and I know what they were last year, but it was an F, and they did everything they could to change the course of that. You don't want your son to come home with a C after that. All those tutors you just hired and be like, all right, man, good enough. That's cool. No, man, like you paid, I think, to have a B, and right now they're at a C. So that's my takeaway.
I would say right now they're at a D. I don't even know if those exist. In Georgia, they don't even have Ds. Did you know that? It's either a
Really?
C or an F, which is crazy. What are we doing? Ds. There are D students out there. They count too. Yeah, I would say right now it's at a D or a C, a C minus, because you're 4-4 and you're 1-4 against real team, or 2-4 now against real teams. 1-4 in the conference still, but we're at the midterm, not at the midterm, but we're not at the final exam yet. Now Saturday night might be a final exam. Like if you come home and you've gotten a 13 on your latest quiz, then yeah, you're not bringing the tutor back. You're done with all that. You're done investing in this. In this kid's
find a trade, young man.
Yeah, pick up a wrench because you're not going to be a mathematician, clearly. But
no disrespect to our blue collar workers, by the way. You guys might have this whole thing figured out better than the rest of us. With
100%, 100%. And some people just aren't cut out to do math. My son most definitely included in that. But if you go up to Death Valley and get destroyed, then yeah, man, I think that's done. You're done. You can't come back. There's some things you can't come back from. Stanford coupled with a bad loss at Clemson means I don't even know if he's the coach for Virginia Tech. I truly don't. But that's a big if too. They could go there. It's like a 2.5 point spread. They could go up there and beat Clemson. They could win all these games. That's not out of the realm. And if you do, then you have shit. I think that's a B, man. I honestly think. Man, I think 7-5 with wins over Alabama and Clemson or Alabama and Florida, to me, coming off 2-10, I know it's just the perspective of 2-10, but that's a B. That's not a C. Nobody was expecting better than 8-4. So you missed what you were hoping for by a bobbled catch in the end zone in Charlottesville. So now you're going to go spend $100 million on the South Florida coach. Like there's got to be some nuance to this thinking. And also, I think it is a good point that this staff is appreciably better. We both think that, right?
Yeah.
We both think that this staff is appreciably better. I do think they'll be a better team next year than they are this year because they've been here for another year. But I don't know that. I don't trust it. I'm not convinced of it. I think it, but I'm not convinced of it. Because you might need a new quarterback. You might need a new offensive coordinator. You're going to need a whole new offensive line. This seemed like a Band-Aid. There are some really good, intriguing young pieces. But that offense, there's a chance they're all gone besides Mekhi Danzy. And he might leave too. Who knows? Then where? Then where are you again? And this seemed like a Band-Aid, and blood is starting to seep through a little bit. Do you pull it off and put another Band-Aid on, or do you just amputate and say, I'm giving up. I'm going to go get myself a bionic arm somewhere else. So that was a horrible metaphor. Horrible. But I tried my best. We went with the C student and then to amputees, I guess. I don't know how that happened. But it's a fair point when you're looking at it pragmatically from 10,000 feet. Well, gosh darn, they got them these new coordinators. They are better. You can see improvement. It is going to cost a lot of money. Wouldn't it make sense to run it back and see how much better they are last year? Like, yeah, you lost to Stanford. And you might go 4-8. We're still speaking as if 7-5, 8-4 is a possibility. By the end of the Virginia Tech game, 7-5 might not even be a possibility. We don't know how these games are going to go. So as we stand right now, I'm assuming they go 2-2 because that's what they've done. They're 4-4. So they go 2-2 in the final month. 6-6, I guess, is a conversation. It doesn't help that your best recruit just left, just bounced to Ohio State. But It is going to be very expensive to make a change.
The discussion continues over at warchant.com. In the interim, between your time here and there, stop by Instagram. Follow Cummins Lifestyle. It's all one word. Rolling along, Corey, competing thoughts, but maybe we can have them meld into one response. Dalvinism. Wake up. I have been enjoying the spirited discussions this week. Awesome. Good. I'm glad somebody has.
There we go.
That said, if Corey gets his wish and Norvell returns after, I don't understand this, returns after finishing 7-5 and 6-6, what should the expectations be for next year? Are we looking for continuing steady improvement, or is it playoff or bust? And then our guy, random_John, basically says, please justify how losing 14 games in a year and a half, being ranked 15th in the ACC, and seemingly recruiting all the 3-stars in existence warrants job security. I'm genuinely curious, what's the argument for keeping awful? Well, they're not awful anymore. They were awful last year. They're respectable right now. So,
and I don't think that's framed correctly. I don't think that's my wish, is it?
No, your wish is that when he wins
Norvell
out,
goes 6-6, that he gets to keep his job. I'm not even wishing. Look, man, I don't know what I wish, but it's not that somebody goes 6-6 and just gets to keep coaching at Florida State. I was making the argument that you could see a reason why the administration would want to keep him because of all the money that's at stake. And you really, if you don't have somebody great lined up, I am not at if I was running Florida State, and I should be, but if I was running Florida State and they came to me and said, look, man, he went 6-6. It's done. The fans are done with him. We got John Summerall from Tulane on the hook. He'll come for $6 million a year. Woo. I was like, okay, well, let's do the math. How much do we pay Norvell, Malzahn, Tony White, Papuchis, on and on, Knighton? Okay, we're going to owe them about $68 million total to not coach. And then what are we going to have to pay Summerall and his staff? Well, probably going to be in the neighborhood of guarantees of about 30. I'm not paying John Summerall $100 million to come coach Florida State. That is not enough of an upgrade, an absolute upgrade in my mind. I don't know if he can do it here. Don't have any clue. He might be worse than Norvell. He might be a combination of Taggart and Norvell. He might be Taggart mixed with McElwain. We don't know anything about the man other than he's got a pretty good program at Tulane. And so it's like, man, that's where I have a hard time saying I am not willing to spend $100 million to have John Summerall be my coach. You tell me James Franklin tomorrow. Right now, give me something to sign. Somebody else that I have a more confidence in, I am not going the AAC route again. Not for $100 million. Because I'm not convinced his team next year will be better than 6-6 or 7-5. And this guy can do that. And we can save. So it's not my wish. It's just we do have to think about the reality of where Florida State is. And nobody's saying that awful is good is the standard. But Aslan's right. They are not awful this season. They were awful last season. Mm-hmm. But you didn't fire them after last season. You'd be firing them after this season. In a 7-5 season, when you're coming off, 7-5's average. But you didn't fire them after awful. You have a 7-5 season. Well, then there's a way you can squint and think, okay, well, next year they're on their way to the mountaintop again. They've got it. They've got it figured out with this coaching staff. So, it's not my wish that Norvell comes back if he keeps losing. Because my wish is they get somebody in here that can recruit and load this roster because those people are fun to watch. I'd love to watch Micah Parsons and Saquon Barkley type players. You got a Mekhi Dancy. I'd like a lot more of them. They're fun. They make Saturdays fun, and this guy doesn't bring in enough. But to the point I was making earlier when I was talking about how awful he's been at recruiting, where he's had whatever, let's be kind and give him 10 out of 99 guys. Out of the 99 kids he signed, 10 of them have turned, in the first 5 years, 10 of them have ended up producing, being big-time contributors to this program. 10 in 5 years, 2 a year. Awesome. Well done, Mike. I would say you'd make the argument that this year they have 6. So this coaching staff has already this current coaching staff that's been here for less than a year has already equaled what the previous coaching staff did in 5 years. As far, like, I think Kevin Wynn and the Desirs are no-brainers. They're players. They're going to play at a high level. I think we all think that Cromaw, Boggs, and Arnaud are big-time players. They also like Sandman Thompson at center. He's going to be a starter. So you look at what they brought, and you're like, okay, you can see some real potential here. Maybe Sperry's a good player. But they've already equaled what the other staff had done in 3 or 4 years. So that gives you a little hope that maybe these guys know what they're doing, and they can evaluate better than that last crew. And they're not going to be so dependent on the University of Albany and the University of Western Michigan and Arizona State and Oregon to give them recruits. At the same time, he just lost his number 1 recruit again. So, back to square one, gang.
Good segue to these next pair of questions. Osceola, 82, which I think that's the Seminole pronunciation of Osceola. I probably butchered it. I apologize to the tribe, truly. Wake up. I continually hear comments that FSU football and Norvell have made improvements from last year's disaster as a reason to potentially keep him. Using that logic, because you were so historically awful last year by your own doing, and now we're just kind of awful, that's improvement. Which, again, they're not kind of awful. They're just average. That's like saying, well, I used to cheat on my wife a bunch, but now I only do it occasionally. So, see, honey, I'm showing improvement. I just need more time to work on myself. You don't get to set the bar unthinkably low and then raise it nominally and call that progress. Love the show. Keep it up, guys. Then we get a long one from our guy Hayden Walton.
Let me address that one real quick. I just want to say, because you addressed it already, they're not awful. They're not even kind of awful. Yeah. They're 4-4. We'll see what it looks like at the end of the year, right?
Correct.
Let's see what it looks like at the end of the year, what the record is. We all have eyes, though. You guys have eyes. This is not an awful product. Yeah. Last year was an awful, god-awful product, and you didn't fire them. So what was the expectation this year, that they were going to be great? Did you all think they were going to be 6-2 right now?
Yeah, well, it's not go. We talked about it in the generating discussion video. Let's
not. Yeah, you're right. So that's all. But we're also not done with this season. If they end up 4-8 or 5-7, that's awful using any metric. That's not good enough. Yes. It's still an improvement, but it's not good enough. Yeah. But right now, it's a 4-4 football team that is all these stupid other indexes have them as one of the top 20 to 25 teams in the country. Last year, they were in the hundreds. So there has been improvement. It just hasn't – it's not a 6-2 football team. But there has been improvement. It's an improved product. And you didn't fire them last year, so you knew this was coming. You knew there was going to probably be baby steps. Anyway, go ahead.
Hayden Walton says, wake up, War Chanters. If we were number 1 in total offense, number 26 in total defense, and we lost 4 games by 1 score – and he talked about just how close each of those games have been. Is there any chance that this turnaround has actually been excellent and that will be realized in the last 4 games? Or is this just searching for any semblance of hope? He also does point out that Clemson has only beaten Troy, Boston College, and North Carolina.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I kind of want to change my pick. I think the Noles are going to maybe pull it off. But yeah, I mean, is there a chance that this has actually been excellent and that will be realized in the last 4 games?
Yes. Well, excellent's probably too strong, but it's just the Stanford game, honestly, gang. It's just the Stanford game. It's hard to say anything is excellent when you lose that game. It's just you keep coming back to that. If they were 5-3 right now, which they should be, even being unlucky against Virginia and Pitt, they should be 5-3 at the worst, and that's a substantial upgrade, record-wise and everything else-wise. But yeah, if they go on a run these last 4 games, it's hard to imagine because – I'm judging this team from past teams and thinking they're not going to play well on the road because they never do. And 3 of their last 4 are on the road in 3 really hard places to win for this program historically. But yes, if they end up playing well down the stretch and in November, you could take a step back from the season and look at it in totality and be like, man, that is a market improvement. That is a drastic improvement from where they were. I mean, yeah, man, number 1 in the country in total offense, number 26 in scoring offense, total defense, compared to where they were last year is an enormous jump. The wins didn't match the improvement on the field, if that makes sense. And at the end of the day, wins are all that matter. I get it. And it's not like they don't get excused for almost winning games. You need to win games. And that Stanford game just continues to haunt them. It's going to be the reason he ends up being fired, is the Stanford game.
That's crazy.
You take the Stanford game, you take the Stanford loss away, whatever. Even if they go 2-2 in this month, which is again a big if, that's a road win. You're looking at a 7-5 season where you beat Alabama and you went to a bowl, you have a chance at 8 wins, you're top 10 in scoring offense. That is an improvement over what you were. The Stanford loss is so inexcusable that it's probably going to cost him his job if they don't just go on a run here.
Let's go on a run over at Underdog Fantasy Sports, everybody. The menu, courtesy of our own Corey Clark again, which, by the way, if you didn't hop on it then, you might be in a little bit better position now, but we're going higher on Cade Klubnik touchdown passes, 1.5. Higher on rushing or receiving touchdowns for Tommy Castellanos, just 0.5. Just get one touchdown running, Tommy. We're good. Antonio Williams with 72.5 receiving yards. It has moved down to 70.5 now if you haven't made your pick. So Corey said higher. Higher on Deuce getting base. It's so weird saying higher on 0.5. Deuce is going to get a touchdown. And Mekhi Danzy higher on 52.5 receiving yards. That is a healthy payout, boys and girls. 13-1 or so, I think we said. So go try it out. Make your own. Share them with us. Let us know what you're thinking. Download the app today and sign with promo code WARCHANT to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code WARCHANT. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks. Win money. Underdog Fantasy Sports must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. We are back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Warchant BOGO, your promo code. Big picture questions, Corey. WRW Knoll 85. What's his avatar? Oh, it's him on, looks like on the Clemson Tiger. Interesting.
Like humping it?
No, yeah, well, mounting it.
Mounted, yeah, that's what. Not humping it. That's gross. That's a gross visual. Sorry, gang, but mounting it.
Yeah. I don't know if these are related, but I'm trying so we get out here. Anyhow, question. Wake up, though, he says. Love the show. Thank you. Question. Is college football as it stands sustainable, or are we headed for some sort of major shakeup? I believe Corey's touched on it previously, but asking fans to shell out for booster perks, tickets, contributing to an NIL fund, it doesn't seem sustainable.
Buyouts. Huge buyouts, too. Don't forget those.
Then there's these asinine coaching contracts and buyouts. There we go. Feels like we are at a tipping point, especially at a place at FSU where we don't have the largest alumni base and booster membership. And also sharing this is Jay Lowry 19. That's another new name. Welcome. Hi, gents. College football changing to a more salary cap situation. Inevitably, astronomical spending on coaches will start to go away, and getting coaches that are strong in player development is going to be paramount. Understanding that, do you believe, regardless of how the season turns out, FSU needs to move on and head towards a staff that is proven in this area? So changes, big and small. Man, I don't know, Corey, not to be too cynical, but should we not treat this almost like politics? No matter who runs for office and talks about they want to clean this up and they want to clean that out and they want to get rid of the corruption, and money is going to continue to pour into the sport, and it's going to be a huge part of why things get done the way they do. Like, I'd love for it to be a hard cap, man. I would love for this to be a hard cap, and the NIL is, thoroughly vetted to where, like, yeah, you can't get $50,000 for just showing up and shaking hands at some bar for 50 minutes. Like, I'm sorry. I know, let the market set the value. Sorry, man. I'm just not cool with that. Just don't think that's the way that this was all supposed to play itself out. But it also feels naive when I sit here and root for it, because I'm like, who's going to make it stop, man? Like the guy in Texas, that alumni base doesn't want this to stop. Ohio State, all the money they have, they don't want it to stop. So are we at an impasse? And if Florida State, do they need to get more creative and get a staff that's, can do more with less, I guess?
I don't like how that's phrased. I don't think Florida State has to do more with less. Again, if we keep looking at Ohio State and Georgia, then yeah. But Florida State is in the top 10%. They're 10%ers. There's 90% of the country can't dream of what Florida State has accomplished, and they don't have podcasts that people listen to like this one. I mean, it's a passionate fan base with money. And, hey, Sarah Blakely's back on board, baby.
That's right.
So maybe Florida State's going to be in the fold now. I hope her kids are sports fans. Her kids need to be huge Florida State fans, and that changes everything. Like, Mom, I want a 5-star wideout. I want to watch Jeremiah Smith and Garnet and Gold. Whatever it takes, kids. I hope you're listening to this. Talk your mom into going and getting Jeremiah Smith. But I definitely think it's all going to be reset soon enough. The Lane Kiffin, what happens with Lane Kiffin if he goes somewhere else will be a very telling moment, I think. I just think it would be asinine to go get that man and pay him $15 million a year. It's just crazy to me. It's crazy to me. It doesn't make any sense. But these ADs and presidents continually stab forks in their eyes. Ouch. All the time and just injure themselves over and over and over again for no reason. Like, Florida needs Lane Kiffin. The only way Florida can win is if they have Lane Kiffin. Come on, man. Same thing with LSU. Like, you're telling 3 out of the last 4 coaches at LSU have won a national championship. The one that didn't was Brian Kelly, and he was 20 games over 500. But you need to go spend $15 million? Ed Orgeron won a national championship there, man. He can't spell his last name, and he won a national championship. It's not rocket science, and I think it's not that hard to win at Florida State. You are not up against it. This is not the Tampa Rays versus the Yankees. Yes, some of these schools have more money. Not in the ACC, they don't. So first things first, start beating the teams that you have more money than, which is all of them. Save for Miami occasionally, if the guy that's giving them money is not in prison, and Clemson. Other than that, you have money, much more money than all these schools. So beat them. It's not doing less with more. It's doing more with more. And once you get past the ACC, you can start tackling Ohio States and Georgias and Alabamas of the world, which you beat this year, by the way. You guys all remember that. So, but it has to reset. It is preposterous that you're going to spend a ton of money on coaches when you also have to pay for the players. And you are not Arthur Blank, where, man, I got to spend $200 million on my roster, and I've got to pay Raheem Morris $5 million a year. Oh, wait, I'm a billionaire. I don't care. I own this stadium that the taxpayers gave me half of it. I own this stadium. So I'm okay. I'm cool. Florida State fans aren't that. Neither are Texas fans. I know they have big money guys. I know Texas Tech loves winning right now. But at some point, that is not a sustainable model to make fans pay for their rosters that they get to cheer for. That's crazy. Man, I guess the Yankees don't care enough. Aaron Judge left and went to the Dodgers. Couldn't get any of the boosters, the Yankee boosters, to up their pay, and he's off to the Dodgers. It's such a stupid way to run a sport. Yeah. I don't know how it gets fixed. I think eventually it will be collectively bargained. They will be employees. This will be a professional sport. I don't know how much innocence is lost there, and if how much people you lose and how many fans you lose because it turns into the NFL minor leagues, like officially. But I still think it'll be a real fun sport to watch, and people will care. I think it'll rub people the wrong way, but it already is. It already is a professional sport. It just needs parameters, but that needs to happen sooner rather than later. I just don't know how it does. But I would not pay if Lane Kiffin said tomorrow, "I'm coming to Florida State. Just give me. I'm leaving. I want to leave Ole Miss. I don't care about LSU in Florida. Tallahassee's where I want to be. 5 years, $75 million. I'd say go jump in a lake. No chance. No chance. I'm giving you $75 million." Unless there's no buyout. If I can fire you whenever I want, by all means, I'll pay you $15 million. Hopefully they get a lot more – the contracts get more incentive and bonus-laden. That would help the sport a ton. But Jimmy Sexton's going to Jimmy Sexton. These presidents and ADs have no clue what they're doing, typically. None. And they're scared into signing things. And that's why we are where we are. So – anyway, I don't think you have to go spend $15 million to find somebody that can win at Florida State.
That's the thing.
And I don't think you're going to have if there is a ceiling, if it is $20 million, and everybody's working near those parameters, you're going to be on the edges somewhere. You might bump it up a little. Florida State's going to be ahead of most because of where you get to where they play college football, the state they're in, the tradition they have, everything being on the up and up. If you get somebody in here that knows what the F they're doing when it comes to talking and recruiting high school kids, you're going to be a really good program again very quickly, I think. Yeah. And you're going to have to figure out if that doesn't happen, figure out another way. But Florida State will because Florida State cares.
Yeah, and I don't have an answer for Jay Lowry, so I'll have to respond to it with an answer or a question myself. When he says, all this spending is going to start going away, so you have to get coaches that are strong in player development. That's going to be paramount.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, he's like,
I think it's more evaluation, right?
Well, he says towards a staff that is proven in that area. Like, I mean, you're going to have to go after somebody at Georgia, somebody at Ohio State, somebody at Oregon, right? Like someone that's at a proven area. But then how do you realize, how do you connect dots to that guy being the one that was making the evaluation, that was making the development? It was just he's the defensive line coach, and they've had 6 draft picks in the last 6 years. I mean, is that the proof? I mean, it's
I think what you do is something in that scenario, because I hear what you're saying. It's like if you wanted to go hire the Georgia DC, and I can never remember his name,
Glenn Schumann.
Schumann. And again, their defense isn't great, but
he went to Georgia, by the way, everybody. He went to Georgia.
But he's never going to be the head coach at Georgia. As long as Kirby wants to do it, he's not going to be a head coach. Just like
what if Kirby gets fired in disgrace? Has to resign. He did something bad. Would they promote him?
Maybe he gets a speeding ticket going 130 miles an hour in downtown Athens.
Bingo.
And he leads a drag race. He organizes a drag race on a Sunday afternoon in downtown Athens and doesn't tell anybody with his whole team. He's suspended for 3 games. He's not being fired. They're not firing Kirby Smart. I can't even imagine what he'd do short of murder. And even then, it's like, was it justified?
Yeah, I mean,
is it justifiable? Was somebody attacking him?
It wasn't premeditated.
He's not going to be. It was post-meditated. Yeah. It wasn't premeditated. He's not being fired. So I would go. You have to do your due diligence when it comes to that. You can't interview someone, ask them all these questions, get them to say, so what were your duties from day to day, week to week in the Georgia defense and on the recruiting trail? You go talk to people that work with them and please help me. Give me, how important was he? What did he do? What were his roles? And hope they're honest with you. Not like somebody talking about a 17-year-old kid that's trying to get a job at Chili's. Oh yeah, good kid. Well, I like him. He's been all. It's you got to get the real scoop on what's going on and what isn't, and if he can do it or not. And you have to take your time with something like that because that's a worry, right? Same thing with the Oregon OC, or even Hartline at Ohio State. How involved is he in the offensive line or in the offensive coordination? How good a play caller is he? What has he learned? What has he not learned? How vital is he on the recruiting trail? It seems like he is. We're told he is. But how vital is he really? Because I think like Ryan Day, I don't know. Maybe this is naive of me. Don't you think Ryan Day would like him at some point to get a head coaching job? Yeah. It would give you if he's the real deal, he'd be like, look, man, he is awesome. We hate to lose him. This is what he did for us. This is how important he was to us. Yeah. And then go verify that with somebody else.
Yeah, Day was a coordinator. Yeah, man, they've all worked their way up, man. They want to see guys, be able to do the.
So I keep coming back to Heartline, man. Okay. I keep coming back to Heartline. I just because
he's proven he can recruit and develop wide receivers, but what about edge rushers? What about?
Don't care. Don't care. I want somebody that has been around it. He at least knows what they look like. Okay. And you're not going to get it. It's not going to be a perfect hire. There's not going to be a perfect hire. I like Franklin a lot too because he's recruited all types of great players. And I just want, again, I'll say it for the last time. I want somebody that can identify, evaluate, develop, and most importantly, sign NFL talent, elite NFL talent. Because I'm tired of this 3-star stuff, man. I'm just tired of it. I just read to you guys what they've done since he's been here. 10 out of 99, 8 out of 99, however you want to frame it. 2 draft picks, a 3rd rounder and a 4th rounder. That's all you have to show in the NFL from the high school ranks in 6 years. A 3rd rounder and a 4th rounder. 5 recruiting classes. Really 3 recruiting classes. His first 3, because they're all NFL draft eligible now. Like the guys from 24 aren't, so that's not fair. I don't know if any of those guys are going to be drafted. They're not looking like it. But right now, so far, he had 2 of his own guys drafted. 3rd rounder and 4th rounder. And remember, Darrell Jackson's not even his guy. Earl Little ain't his guy. Jabril Rawls is his guy. We'll see if he's draftable, but Deuce isn't his guy. He's just not done it on the recruiting trail at a high enough, anywhere close to good enough.
All right. By the way, over-unders are going to be just posted on the Tribal Council. We don't have much time, but I'm going to go ahead and set the timer to put Corey on the clock, put a governor on our guy, restrictor plate on him. We got 3 more questions. Let's go.
Quick, rapid fire.
Island Chief, wake up. Deepak Chopra quoted saying, quote,
skip it. Next question.
Oh,
just kidding, Island Chief. Just kidding.
See, how can I limit that greatness, right? How can I limit Corey? All great changes are preceded by chaos. Well, the chaos part is handled. If they play the next 4 games as they have against Bama and Wake, Norvell is here next year. Does this then become the 3rd time a game against Wake defined the future? If you had to offer odds, what would they be that this is going to happen?
That they're going to play well the last 4, and he's going to be back.
Well, I mean, I don't know about the 2 of those, but just I'll take the first part. The chance they play the way they did against Bama and Wake the next 4 games, man, that's like plus 850.
Oh, you're doing money line odds. I was going to say like 10 to 1.
All right, well, that's
same
8
thing.
to 1.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah. I don't foresee that happening. But look, they did it in 22. They had a stretch where their 4 best games were right there after that loss to Clemson, and they dominated teams. I would be stunned if they go up to Death Valley and dominate Clemson or beat them comfortably. If they do, some real conversations being had about, okay, this is what we thought it was going to look like all season after Alabama. They found it again. And okay, this is but that's a huge if, man. We're talking in hypotheticals. So yes, I would say them winning the next 4 games, looking really good, let's say in 3 of them, and then maybe squeaking out one of these wins. Again, 10 to 1, plus 1,000. Very, very little chance that I think the odds of that, just because I don't think they're good enough. I just frankly don't think they're talented enough to string together to be consistent. They're up and down because they're an up and down team. They're sometimes their average players play better than they are, and their good players play better than they are, and it ends up being a 35-point win. If they play to their level, if water finds their level, it looks a lot like it did against Virginia, where you can make some plays and then look horrible at times, or Pitt in the second half at times. It's just I just don't think they're good enough to string together 5 straight really impressive wins. And they did it the last time they did it. Jordan Travis was their quarterback, and this guy just is not Jordan Travis.
Mark, gents having a hard time seeing better than 6-6.
Yeah.
That said, I'm now on the side of running it back with Norvell and the staff for another year if they get to 7-5 or better. There's a lot he's got in here, but we don't have the time. Sorry, Mark. Love you. Random question, he says. If they do run it back with Mike and he barely becomes bowl eligible, do you think the administration forces him to switch to afternoon practices? My quick research indicates that the only Power 4 teams that practice in the morning and who are serious playoff contenders are Oregon and Oklahoma. The only other ACC team that does morning practices, and Mark's research, is Boston College. So there you go.
I was wondering about that. I actually wanted to do my own research. Now, Oregon does it. Dan Lanning is off the Norvell tree. So he's about those morning practices. And I've wondered this. I would make him do it. I just also wonder legitimately, like, when you're on a recruiting visit and you're Jeremiah Smith, and again, I know there's a lot more factors than just this, but everybody's telling you how awesome the place is. You're out on Friday night in College Town. You're up at recess. Holy cow, I'm coming here. This is unbelievable. We get to play in that stadium. We have this many national championships. I'm around my boy. These guys are fun to hang out with. Look at this scene. Holy cow, I'm not going to Columbus. Wait, we have to get up at 6:30 every morning? What? I'm in college, right? Like, I thought I was supposed to be able to, like, maybe get up at 9 or 10. Like, I didn't know I had to get up and obviously Jeremiah Smith's probably one of those freaks that gets up. He's like Kobe, gets up at 5 in the morning to work out. But there are a lot of other guys that are really good football players that probably aren't all that – it's not all that appealing. That's just my theory. Haven't proven it. But I do know that Jimbo practiced in the afternoon and Bobby Bowden practiced in the afternoon. And apparently Ryan Day practices in the afternoon and Kirby practiced in the afternoon. And also, here's another little tidbit, Aslan. All the games are in the afternoon. If you had a 9 a.m. start time in half your games, absolutely, man. Wake these kids up at 6.
Well, then
but you get a body clock when they're used to physical exertion at 9:30, and meanwhile the games they play, the last 5 games they play, are all at 7:30 at night when these kids are getting ready to go to bed. Typically, anyway, that's just me. Sorry.
Well, then, and to even go back a little bit further, they practice Pop Warner football after school. They practice high school football after school. They, their whole careers, their whole lives, they've practiced and played like at night. And I know you can't play every game at night, but then they come here. Listen, you got to be who you are. It's your program. You want to leave a mark on it. His thing was, and again, I really don't care, man. I'm glad I don't have to go to practice. I promise you, everybody. The only thing I don't like that's been changed, I don't like the Sunday press conference. The fact that we have to go back to the stadium 11 hours after we were there, I think is a little bit counterproductive. But he decided that, listen, I want to have my program open, visible, transparent. I want to show it off. And he's like, well, you never actually know. Maybe I don't need you guys there. Let me change that. You want to instill discipline in these kids and get them prepared for life after football so they can get ready for a job. I mean, there's something else you can do. There's something else you can do to prepare them. Let's go suit shopping. Let's bring in an interview expert from LinkedIn to tell them about what they need to do on their resume and how to dress properly and get the right job. You can practice in the afternoon and still be a disciplined team and set them up for success in life. Last question.
Correct.
Last question. Good one to go out on. Big Steve-O 22. How much time do we have left? We got 3.5 minutes. We're going to spend 30 on it reading the question. Good morning, gentlemen. Hope it's all well with you. We are in some interesting times. Anyways, with all these firings around the country happening, it got me thinking about how this job ranks amongst those currently open and the ones projected to be open. I know the brand is still well known and strong, but how much shine do you think this job, again, not the brand, but the job, has been lost since Jimbo left? And do you think we are at a point, particularly financially, that we can't afford to hire a current or recently fired head coach and we have to poach an up-and-coming assistant? Brian Hartline, all caps, please. Seems like we're financially handcuffed ourselves and it's going to be difficult to get out of this mess.
Yeah, I would say I would put LSU and that's it. And me personally, that I think is a better job than Florida State. And the reason I think
they had 9 losing seasons in the 90s. You know how hard it is for me to wrap my head around this whole LSU is like one of the most preeminent jobs in the country.
It's crazy. And I don't think it's like long-term better. I'm talking about right now in 2026 it's better because they do have more money. But also all their coaches there have won. I know they've all been fired, but they've all won. And you get to recruit the state by yourself. John Sumrall at Tulane's not taking any players from Louisiana. You get to lock up that state. It's why it was always so appealing to Jimbo. It's why he wanted to go there, frankly, 2 years in a row, and they didn't hire him. That's the appeal. But it can be a cesspool too. Now the governor gets involved. No matter if you win a national championship, you're fired 2 years later. I just think that to me is probably the biggest job out there, like the brightest toy. Other than that, Florida State are the same to me. Both traditional powers, both have been struggling in the last decade. Florida State does have a 13-0 sprinkled in there, though, which Florida has not come close to. It's not sniffed. So I think Florida State, I would take Florida State above Florida, and I would definitely take Florida State above Penn State and Auburn. I think that's my rankings is LSU, Florida State, and then the rest. They're all kind of close, though, right?
Yeah.
Like Auburn and Penn State are football schools. Auburn seems as dysfunctional as any program has ever been, but they're also a football school that cares. They're second fiddle in their state, but they care. Florida, they care too much. They fired Dan Mullen, which was crazy, and they've gone through 5 coaches now in 12 years. They can't get it right. Penn State, I don't know what that is without Franklin. I am certainly not convinced that is just a blue blood juggernaut that's going to continually be good. I think James Franklin was awesome there because he took over after Bill O'Brien went 7-6 2 years in a row, and Bill O'Brien took over the biggest mess in college football history, legitimately. I don't know that Penn State is like destined to be awesome. I do know their last national championship was 39 years ago. The Cosby Show was the number 1 show in the country.
Nice.
And I guess Prince was still a big deal. Like Purple Rain had come out in '84. He was still the biggest music star on the planet, probably. It's been a long time, let's just say, since Penn State was winning a national championship. So I'd say Florida State's number 2. It may be number one depending on who the person is. I know I'm biased because I grew up with this program and I talk about this program every day. But if I'm let's just say it's Franklin, or no, yeah, Heartline. Do I want to go to LSU as a first-time head coach where they just fired a guy that was 20 games over 500, and they fired sorry, I heard that alarm. They fired every coach they've had since Saban. Do I want to go there where I'm going to get 2 or 3 years, and even if I'm 20 games over 500, I'm still going to get fired, and I'm in the SEC where it's really hard to win? Or would I rather go to Florida State where you could go 2-10 and keep your job? Plus, you're in the state of Florida and you're in the ACC. Man, and that was a snarky comment at the beginning, but it's also the truth. I would think that would be more appealing for my first head coaching job. Florida State and LSU are essentially on equal footing. I just think LSU's a little better because of the state. It gets the whole state, and because of the money angle. But and they have incredible fans.
Those
Florida State does
things.
too. But
Those are two
LSU,
huge
yeah,
things,
but they're close. It's not like it's 80-20.
Right.
It might be 55-45 in favor of LSU, but that's a crazy fan base that fires good coaches that are 20 games over 500, and and it's LSU. It's a different kind of culture down there. Florida State might be more his vibe, and so everything being equal, I can see why you would choose Florida State over all of them. But I'm sure whoever's doing Wake Up Tigers or Wake Up Gators or Wake Up War Eagle, they're all probably saying the same thing about their school. They could look at Florida State and be like, well, look, man, they've had 6 losing seasons in the last 10. Yeah, they had a 19-game winning streak, but look what was sprinkled all around it. That's no sure thing either. I just think Florida State is weirdly – wouldn't you say Florida State is the most stable out of those openings?
Well, we'll see. I don't know. LSU's got a new AD. Florida State might have a new AD, although Auburn's AD seems to be there for a minute. John Cohen's probably not going anywhere. So
but they're on they're going to be on their 4th coach in 5 years at Auburn.
I mean, we would be on our 4th coach in 9 years?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. But one of them did get 6 years, and he did get to go 2-10 and come back. And I would also say this: we can't lose sight of this. It wasn't that long ago. It wasn't black and white TV where Florida State went 13-0. Literally, they should have been. They were a playoff team 2 years ago. They were a playoff team 2 years ago.
You're right.
Auburn hasn't sniffed a playoff in a minute. Yeah. Florida hasn't sniffed it in 15 years. LSU 6 years, but Penn State was in it last year. But I think Penn State's a Franklin creation. I really do. I think Franklin, they're going to rue the day. I think Franklin was a really big deal and a great weapon on the recruiting trail that if they don't make that hire correctly, it could go bad really quickly. I think Florida State is set up for success with the right coach.
Yeah, I think if you can recruit the Northeast like he did, you can probably recruit also Florida really well too. So we'll see. We'll see if he's on the radar. Let's see if a change is made, or let's see if Florida State just absolutely knocks the doors off a beaten, broken, battered, maybe on the verge of quitting Clemson team, 7 p.m. on Saturday. Before that, pregame show 9 a.m. with Jeff Cameron and Tom Lang. Postgame show 10 to 15 minutes afterwards live on YouTube. And then obviously the War Chant wrap presented by Cummins with Irish O'Fell and Corey Clark. Both of those guys will be in Clemson, South Carolina, quote-unquote Death Valley, where they have not beat a Power 4 team at home since October 19th, 2024. Look it up. It's a fact. He's Corey Maslon. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. Warchant BOGO, your promo code.